Hey guys, it's Haley. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Compared to some other people, I'm a little late to the party on this one, but July 2nd, I think today is the actual middle of the year, so really I'm right on time. I actually took the semester off from college for health reasons this semester, which good time to do it, right? And I've had a lot of time to read some really great books, some books I've been wanting to read for a long time, so I'm super excited to get started with this one. I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts. Let me know what your favorite books of the year have been, your least favorite books of the year, what you think about the choices I've made, and anything else that comes to mind. Leave in the comments below. Best book you've read so far in 2020. So for this one, I'm going to go with a reread, and that is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. Now, I talked to Bring Me the Books about this, and we're both huge fans of this duology. It is a retelling of the 1001 Nights. If you don't know, the basic premise of that is the story of a king who basically takes a new bride every night and kills them in the morning. And the protagonist of the book is named Shahrazadi, and she is a volunteer basically to be the newest bride, and she thinks she has a plan to keep herself from being killed the next morning like all the other brides have, because her best friend was one of the brides killed, and so she's sort of plotting revenge while trying to keep herself alive. And it's sort of a really great slow burn, really steamy romance that I just absolutely adore. It's such a fantastic book. The setting is great, the characters are great. Shahrazadi, Shazi, they call her, might be my favorite female character of all time, and that's saying something because I tend to really get attached to female characters and love them. So I absolutely adored this book, and I really highly recommend it to everyone who has not read it. Please read it. It's so good, and then we could talk about it. Next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2020. So that for me would have to be The Wicked King by Holly Black. Now, I read the Folk of the Air series this year, and I was really enjoying it. I was a little underwhelmed by the first book mainly because I'd heard such good things about it, and I felt that the pacing was a little off, but I still really enjoyed it. But then I got to The Wicked King, and just the political maneuvering sort of games and trickery was just so interesting. There was a twist every other page. I never knew what was going to happen. I was surprised, and I wasn't guessing like what was going to happen the way I sometimes do when these twists happen. So it was really refreshing to be surprised all the time, really exciting. Honestly, one of my favorite book sequels of all time. Next question is new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that for me, I have to go with Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. Again, I have to read Queen of Air and Darkness, The Red Scrolls of Magic, and Ghost from the Shadow Market before I get to this one, but I'm breezing through Queen of Air and Darkness right now, and I'm so excited to get to this book. I know I'm gonna cry. I can't wait to see Will and Tessa and Jem again. I know they're not the main focus, but I really want to see them again because I miss them more than anything. Oh, I'm so excited for this book. I know I've mentioned it in every other one of my books, my videos before, but Chain of Gold is just my most anticipated release of this year, and I cannot wait to finally get to it. Oh, it's going to be so good. Next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that has got to be The Tower of Nero by Rick Riordan. I have not read The Trials of Apollo yet, but I am a massive, massive, massive Percy Jackson fan. I know I told you guys that The Infernal Devices is my favorite series of all time, but honestly it's a very close race with Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and I cannot wait to finally get to binge read all of those books. I'm waiting until I think the last one's out so I can binge read and just go through all 5 books. But yeah, that's the most excited. Rick Riordan is an auto-buy author for me. I absolutely adore his writing. I love his characters. I love the way he incorporates mythology into the stories. I just cannot wait to get my hands on that one. Super excited for that one. Next question is biggest disappointment. Now this one's kind of hard for me because I tend not to get too disappointed with books. I tend to just enjoy them for what they are and not place too many expectations on them. I sort of just enjoy the ride. With that being said, the series that I read this year that I did not enjoy, that I was actually not able to finish, which is rare for me, is the Maze Runner trilogy by James Dashner. I'm sorry, I know everyone loved these books. I just could not get into them. I felt like the world building wasn't very well done. I couldn't connect with the characters very well, and overall I just didn't enjoy the storyline, and that's really what it came down to in the end. Sorry about that one. Next question is biggest surprise, and for this one I'm going to have to go with Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. It's the final book in the Folk of the Air series, with The Wicked King being the second book. I would have to say that, without going into spoiler territory, that I was so surprised by the direction this series went, but pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed Queen of Nothing. I thought it was a really satisfying conclusion for me personally. I know some people had issues with it, with the direction the characters went. I really loved it for the way I like to read books. It sort of was the sort of ending that I really enjoy. Yeah, and I really loved it, and was surprised by how the direction it took, but pleasantly so. Next question is favorite new author, debut, or new to you? And for this, I'm going to have to go again with Holly Black. I'd never read any of Holly Black's books before. Folk of the Air was the first series I read by her, and I absolutely loved it. I adored the writing style, I adored the characters, I adored the world building. I thought just everything was excellent about that series, with the exception of The Cruel Prince, which I thought was a little off in some pacing areas. Other than that, I definitely am looking forward to reading more of her stuff and finding out more about her other series, because I've heard that there are characters in her other series that make appearances in the Folk of the Air series that have little cameos, so I'm excited to actually go back and try and see if I can pick any of them out and see just what those other series are about and if they live up to the Folk of the Air. So yeah, Holly Black is for that one. Newest fictional crush. Now for this, I'm going to go with either Prince Cardan from the Folk of the Air, because I really love him, especially in the last book. I think his character development is great. His character arc is really satisfying and well done. Just absolutely love him, and did not think I was going to at the beginning of the series. Also, alternatively, if you think that it's a little too much Folk of the Air stuff, I'm going to go with Matthew Fairchild. Now I have not read Chain of Gold yet, or Ghost of the Shadow Market, in which I know he appears, but I have read Tales from Shadowhunter Academy, in which he appears, and I already know I adore him. I can't wait to find out more about him and read more about him in Chain of Gold, and see his relationship with James as their pair body. And maybe my opinion will change, but I really hope it doesn't, because I really loved Matthew in Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. Oh, he was so precious, so pure. Newest favorite character, I think I'm actually gonna go with Vivi from the Folk of the Air series. Now, she's not the main character, but she is one of my new favorites, because she is just so unapologetically herself. She makes mistakes, but she is sort of like the most relatable, I felt, of the characters in that series. I really was rooting for her. I really felt that she was the most pure-hearted, even though she did make some mistakes sometimes. I really just enjoyed her as a character. I liked her attitude towards the whole Fae world and everything, and her father, and I just really enjoyed her sisterly relationship with Jude and Taryn, and loved Vivi. She's definitely on my list of all-time favorite characters. She's so great. Book that made you cry. Now for this, I'm going to go with one that I'm still reading, and if you don't know, that's Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. If you don't know anything about the book, I won't spoil you, but it opens up on something really devastating, and I was just in tears the entire time reading it. I still get teary-eyed when this thing is mentioned sometimes, even 400 pages into the book that I'm in now. It devastated me, and it made me so upset, and I just it tore my heart out in that way that only Cassandra Clare can do. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Queen of Air and Darkness for that one. Book that made you happy. Now I'm gonna go with a reread for this one, and I reread the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series this year, and I'm going with The Last Olympian because it's my favorite in the series. Reading about Percy just feels like coming home. It feels like it's coming back to a friend. I absolutely adore him, and even though a lot happens in this book, some sad stuff and some, very tense stuff, knowing what happens and everything, I just felt very comforted by coming back to it, and just absolutely adored everything about reading them again. They held up so well for me, just as much as they had when I first read them over 10 years ago now. If you haven't read these books, I highly, highly recommend them. Cannot recommend them enough. They're so fantastic. Next question is favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year, and this I'm going to have to go with Greta Gerwig's Little Women. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so well done, so true to this the heart of the book and the heart of the story. It's my mom's absolute favorite book of all time, so we really enjoyed watching it together, and that was a really sweet mother-daughter moment that we could have. I absolutely thought that it was a masterpiece. So yeah, Little Women, Absolutely. If you're one of like the 5 people on the planet who hasn't seen it yet, watch it. It's so fantastic. The cast is incredible and the performances are incredible. Everything about it I love. Definitely recommend Little Women to everyone. Okay, the next question doesn't really apply to me because it's a favorite review you've done this year, and I haven't done any book reviews on this channel yet. So I'm going to skip that one and go straight to most beautiful book you've bought this year so far or received. And for that one, I Enchantée by Guida Trellis. I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous for this one. It's red, white, and blue like the colors of the French flag. It's got gold flecks on it. It's got a map inside of Paris. That is absolutely stunning, and it even naked, I think it looks beautiful. You can't really see it that well, but it's got gold lettering, and it just is absolutely stunning. A good part of the reason I picked it up, not bought, was because of how gorgeous it was, and then after reading the description, I knew I had to have it. So yeah, that's the most beautiful book I've bought this year. And last but not least, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Now, I've gone over this a little bit in my July TBR of things I need to catch up on, and that is the Grisha trilogy and Six of Crows and the Nikolai duology. And then so all the books in the Grishaverse. And then I also need to finish Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard. And I also want to read One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. I want to read the Ember and the Ashes series, which I have not read yet, and I know the final book is coming out in December. And I want to read the Trials of Apollo when the final book comes out, so that I can finally have said I've read all of Rick Riordan's books. So yeah, that's my goal for right now. We'll see. I'll probably add more to that as time goes on, because I'm sure I'll finish those at a certain point before the end of the year. But that's my goal for right now, and we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys updated with everything I'm reading. Right now I'm reading Queen of Air and Darkness. It's still on it. It's about halfway through, a little more than halfway through now. I hope to have it finished by the end of the weekend. Probably, and then once I do that, I'll probably have a video up on it, which I'm super excited to talk about. And then tomorrow, in honor of the release of Hamilton on Disney Plus, I plan to do the Hamilton book tag, so be on the lookout for that. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. Please leave comments down below and like, comment, and subscribe. It really means the world to me, and it really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.